Hi, it's Kathy from Bishopstone Yarns, and I'd like to welcome you all here to this little video about my crafting. And what I usually talk about is kind of knitting, spinning, weaving, a lot of sewing, usually some quilting, anything really to do with fibre arts. But today it is just about the spinning. For those of you who are spinners, you probably already know that on July the 4th, the Tour de Fleece starts, and I have been trying to get myself ready for the Tour de Fleece. As you can see, for those of you who usually watch, I'm not in my studio at the moment. I am in a different room, and I have been starting to get ready for the Tour de Fleece. Now, for those people who don't know, the Tour de Fleece is a spinning event. It's kind of like a worldwide online spinning event where people can get together and they spin in time with the Tour de France. So for each day that they spin on their bike, we spin on our wheels. Some people take it as a bit of a challenge, so they take the hilly days as an extra challenge and try and push themselves. Some people like to do it as a race and see how much they can get done. I just simply use it as an event to do, something to help me get through some of the things that I have been putting off spinning, or fleeces that have been sitting around for quite a while. My thought this year is that I am going to spin. I have got a whole heap of rabbit fur, Angora rabbit fur, so my plan is to spin that. But as I said, this is the preparation to the Tour de Fleece, so it is not the 4th of July yet. We have not started. I've got a few days, actually only a few days before it actually starts. I haven't even decided how I'm going to spin the rabbit, because I have been preparing for the actual race. Preparing usually means, oh my gosh, I've got something left on my wheel or wheels, and I have to spin that up to make my bobbins free so that I can start spinning for the actual race. So I always feel like I have a bit of a pre-race warm-up. This year I have spun up. I'll start off with, I was given some fleece last year. I was at a guild event that happens every year, and I was given some fleece, which is absolutely lovely. It was raw fleece. It was just sitting on the ground. We could just take a little bit to play around with, and so I took some, thinking it was going to be more of a grey. I tried to grab, it was kind of a grey brown fleece. I always tried to get as much of the grey, or at least I thought I tried to get as much of the grey as I could, because those of you who've been around for a while know that brown's not really my favourite colour, even though I've spun a lot of brown, and I usually use the Tour de Fleece as a time to spin brown. Anyway, have spun up this bit of fleece that I had. I thought I would have just a little bit of a play around with it. So I thought the first skein that I did, I spun woolen, and the second one I spun worsted. So just for fun. So this was the first skein that I had spun up. Now this is really nice, light and airy. What I did, how I prepared this was I used my hand cutters and then rolled it into rollags. So into like a little sausage. I guess we could say it's like a little sausage, and then you spin from the end. So what you're doing is your fibers are not aligned like this. They're kind of a little bit kind of cross-hatchy, kind of like this, and they just come out kind of crossed over. So they trap in more air into your spinning. So you end up with a kind of like a softer, lighter area yarn, and also one, I don't know if you can see or not, but it has a bit more of a stretch in it. So I can hold this and I can kind of stretch it a little bit more than, say, you probably would with when you spin this just with your fibers all in alignment. So let me just try and put this up here close so you can have a look. So I'm quite happy with that. It is absolutely a really lovely kind of fleece. It feels very much, not that I actually can't remember, but it does feel very much like a merino. This one has been washed. It did have a lot of lanolin in it and a lot of dirt in it and a few little bits of vegetable matter. A couple of little thorns that actually stuck into me as I was spinning. But I was really happy with that. That's quite nice. A bit browner than I was kind of hoping for. The other one I spun, all that I did was I actually just spun it straight from the fleece. It was a little bit matted on the ends. And so for those ones, I just used my fingers just to pull the fibers apart, and then I just spun it so all the fibers are running like this, kind of side by side. So you're not trapping as much air in there, you're making kind of a slightly smoother, thinner as in like all the fibers are running alongside each other. This one hasn't been washed. But this is the other skein that I spun. Still smells very sheepy and very lanolin-y. This one, not so much. If you can kind of see the difference, I'm presuming that when I wash this one, it is going to lose a bit of that brown, because some of that brown is, believe it or not, is some dirt and some lanolin and all that. So this was exactly the same fleece. I must admit, this first one, I did try to put the more grayer fibers with it, but I do think this one's going to come out a bit lighter once I've washed it. Now, if I was to put these up here, I don't know whether or not you can kind of see the difference. This one is a little bit hairier, a little bit rounder, a little bit, yeah. I'll have to probably show you again once it's been washed. But so that has been finished, because it's almost, well, it's probably about 10 months ago that I was given this fleece. So I thought I should probably finish that. So I have finished, let me pop them up there maybe. So I have finished those two. And then, excuse me, just bending down, I've got another 2 skeins here. I had some leftover white fleece that was at the bottom of a basket. When I first found it, I thought, oh great, I had a kind of like a lovely light coffee coloured fleece. But no, once I washed it, I found out that it was actually a white fleece. Of course it was. And so I have 2 skeins of this. Now I have got I think maybe 2-3 other skeins of this. It does look really lovely in the camera, doesn't it? It looks lovely. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's light and it's airy and it's kind of soft, but it also has a little bit, it's nowhere near as soft as a merino. I don't know what this fleece is either. This is the kind of, it's not scratchy, it's just more robust, I think you would say. I guess this is what a lot of people would call a rustic, slightly more rustic, not really rustic, as in like you could wear this next to you, you know, like you could wear it around your neck. It doesn't matter if you had a jumper or something. It's just wouldn't be my go-to choice for something like that. It would be really good, I think, for a jumper. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I had thought about maybe knitting a shawl, the heart shawl, out of this. I have knitted the heart shawl before. It's a semicircular shawl. I actually knitted a very large version of it as a shroud for my mother, who was also a spinner and a weaver, and so she is buried in, so she had a natural burial, which meant that anything that went into the coffin had to be biodegradable and go back to nature. And so I made this shawl which has love hearts on it, so that she would be surrounded by love and covered by the shawl, with something that that she loved in her life, which was, she loved fibre, she loved spinning, and so I had thought about knitting another one of those for myself, because I really like the shawl, but I'm not sure whether I want it to be slightly softer wool than this. Maybe, I don't know. But at least this has been my pre-tour getting ready. So you can see the tour is good for stopping you from procrastinating, because I haven't really wanted to finish off either of these, but at least they are finished now. And then I thought, great, I will spend the tour de fleece spinning this rabbit, and I will spin on my Major Craft Rose, so which is my favourite wheel, except it's in pieces. I started spinning on the Major Craft, and I have had this Major Craft for a very long time. So I've had it for somewhere between 15 and 20 years, I would kind of guess. I mean, yeah, maybe let's just say 15. I don't know. Yeah, I've had it a very long time, and I have done a lot of spinning on it. So for those of you who may or may not know, this part here joins the two, I guess, leg pieces to the treadles at the bottom. So without this is the bit that spins around and lets everything work. This end here, don't know if you can see or not, but in there it is totally burred. The I guess after all this kind of turning over years, it has finally given up the ghost. It was not happening. I will give you a closer little video at the end just to show you on the wheel what it is. But so I have had to go and order a new piece of this. Well, I think this one and the bit that also this attaches to the two legs of the wheel, and I think the plate that's attached to the wheel has to come as well. Not cheap. None of the Major Craft pieces are cheap to replace, but it is a lot cheaper than a brand new Major Craft. Even though when this first broke, I must admit, I did start thinking, I wonder if I should get a not new rose, but actually maybe a gem or one of the smaller, more portable wheels, because the great thing about the Major Craft is that the bobbins for the Major Craft are the same bobbins can be used on their whole range. So I just thought, I've got enough bobbins and I've got all the attachments, so I could just get a new wheel. But the new wheels are really expensive. Very expensive. They come from New Zealand, and I do like them, but it's a lot of money. Even though this was a lot of money to replace, it's a lot cheaper than getting a brand new wheel. And it's very hard to actually come across a second-hand gem in the Major Craft down here in Tasmania. I guess if I lived on the mainland or somewhere bigger, it might be easier, but yes. So last year, before I started the tour, I don't know if any of you can remember back to that far, but last year my band broke on my wheel just before the tour. Luckily, I was able to get that replaced by my local dealer, Major Craft dealer, that is, Major Craft dealer. And I was able to get a new band to replace that in time, so that was good. But now this year, this is broken. All I can think is like, I don't think anything else can break. I don't think there's anything else that could break. I hope next year, because otherwise it's gonna end up being so expensive replacing all these bits and pieces on the Major Craft. But yes, what a funny little piece this is though, for what it costs to replace it. But I am so looking forward to the tour. I'm looking forward to spinning up this rabbit, which was gifted through the guild. They had bags and bags of rabbit, Angora rabbit fur. I'm still umming and ahhing whether I'm going to spin it just by itself or spin it, mix it with some merino or something else. I don't know. If you've got any thoughts about that, let me know. If not, I'll do a quick little video here at the end of my wheel of the bit that is broken, and I will talk to you all in a couple of days when the tour starts. So I'm hoping to do a little bit of a video diary of my spinning through the tour. Tour goes for starts on the 4th, I think it goes to the 28th. That's the men's race, and then the women's race I think starts from the 1st of August to maybe the 9th of August. Don't quote me on those dates, but I think they're the dates. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to getting as much done as I can, maybe getting all the rabbit done and then moving on to something else. And my goal is just to try and spin every day, and you'll be seeing me each day with my spinning. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.